Hey, y'all, Joe of All Trades here, bringing to you another episode for Flick Picks. Today we are covering Internal Affairs, 1990 movie starring Richard Gere and Andy Garcia. But before we dive into it, if you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Joe of All Trades. We are on YouTube, Spotify, uh, Instagram, probably not for videos like this, but some more photos and stuff like that, other content, and then Patreon. Um, no exclusive merch or content on Patreon at this time. However, we may be getting to a spot for that. And if you want to help the channel out as we grow, um, please find us there and feel free to become a patron. So, uh, again, series of here we are calling Flick Picks, which are kind of movies that are, movies they don't really make anymore. So lower to moderate budget, good story, not a lot of special effects, great cast, good story, good portrayals by the actors, that sort of thing. Um, and they're kind of, these movies are getting a little bit older now. They don't really make too many of them, not that are coming out in theaters. And then also, um, just kind of swept under the rug or kind of hidden gems as time goes on. So I absolutely love this movie. Um, I was, just kind of bored and saying, and how I find these movies sometimes, how I really have grown into liking what I would call flick picks is just finding some sort of random movie on, a streaming platform, Amazon, Netflix, Tubi, stuff like that, where I find it and I'm like, you know what, this looks interesting. It's got a great couple of actors. I should watch it. I did that with Internal Affairs many years ago, and it is truly been probably my favorite, what I would call flick pick of all time. Um, it's um, it's up there in Richard Gere performances. I think it's my favorite. It is my favorite Andy Garcia movie. Really phenomenal uh, supporting cast, and we'll get into that. But if you haven't seen Internal Affairs, I highly recommend it. It's kind of a sexualized kind of action thriller with a great cast, great performances, good director, and I think that. Not a whole lot of people know about this, especially as time goes on. So I'd love to talk about it. I recommend watching it. Um, Go ahead. Um, if you do watch it, let me know how you like it. Leave a comment in the comment section. If you have any other recommendations for movies that you'd like me to take a look at and potentially do a flick pick video on, please go ahead and do that. So first of all, film came out in 1990. Richard Gere and Andy Garcia, the stars, were on absolute fire in 1990. The same year Richard Gere came out with Pretty Woman, and then also the same year that Andy Garcia came out with uh, Goodfellas Part Three. So, or Goodfellas, Godfather. What am I nuts? But Goodfellas did come out in 1990, but Godfather Part Three. So there's that. Director is Mike Figgis. Um, it was written by Henry Bean. It was distributed by Paramount Pictures. Henry Bean at the time, was kind of successful in these kind of genre of movies. He also wrote a Deep Cover, starring Lawrence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum. Also, The Believer, that will probably also be covered on Flick Picks. That's starring Ryan Gosling as a Jewish neo-Nazi. Very interesting movie. And probably intend on covering that at some point because it really started to get eyes on Ryan Gosling as a serious actor and not just a Disney kid. Um, as I said, director was Mike Figgis. He's also known for directing Stormy Monday, Mr. Jones. In that movie, Richard Gere plays like a manic depressive. It's a pretty impressive performance by Gere in that role. And then most famous is Leaving Las Vegas, where Mike Figgis was nominated or the movie was nominated for 2 Oscars, director for Mike Figgis, and screenplay. And I do believe that's where Nicolas Cage did win Best Actor. So, he's in a Mike Figgis, not a whole lot of work, but what he does is pretty good. So, like I said, starring Andy Garcia, also known for Untouchables, Stand and Deliver, Black Rain, Godfather Part 3. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that role this year in 1990. When a Man Loves a Woman, the Oceans franchise, um, the Lost City. That's a passion project that he directed, and that may be a future flick pick because it's a pretty good movie and not a whole lot of people know about it. Also, um, Richard Gere. Obviously, most people know him for An Officer and a Gentleman, American Gigolo, Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride, Chicago. Um, just a great, Primal Fear. Great, great actor. And I will get into his role in this movie. Um, Supporting roles: Nancy Travis. No, she was opposite Mike Myers, and So I Married an Axe Murderer, and she's had multiple television sitcom roles. And then also Laurie Metcalf. She's absolutely fantastic in this movie. Um, she's obviously known for um, Aunt Becky on Roseanne. She won 3 Primetime Emmys in that role, and she's great in JFK. Big Bang Theory as Sheldon's mom, and Lady Bird. And then also Billy Baldwin, one of the Baldwin brothers, I think the youngest one. He's kind of known for Flatliners and Backdraft. The budget was $15 million. It made $47 million at the box office, so it was successful. And the basic synopsis of this movie is Richard Gere stars as a wickedly crooked cop under investigation by the Internal Affairs Division, those officers within Internal Affairs being Andy Garcia and Laurie Metcalf. So, and not to be confused, sometimes this movie gets confused as being an inspiration for The Departed, Martin Scorsese's The Departed. That's not true. The movie that did, play influence to The Departed is a Japanese film by the name of Infernal Affairs. So, just to make that clear. A couple of notes I have for the movie. Like Richard Gere throughout his career, he's never been afraid to play a guy who might be a little pompous, might be an asshole, might be a jerk. This movie takes the cake on all of those. So, I mean, obviously, there's some scenes within Officer and a Gentleman where he is, kind of an ass. There's a particular scene in Pretty Woman that I can recall where, he's throwing cash on the bed, and, he's a real asshole in that scene. Um, and he's kind of pompous in Primal Fear as a defense attorney. So this one takes the cake, though. I mean, he is, as the synopsis says, he is wicked. I think he's incredible as a villain, and to me, obviously the other performances, are a little bit more complex. This is a little bit more one sided, but there are some scenes in this movie where Richard Gere is just pure evil, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Really grabbing the popcorn when you see these things. So, um, so I really recommend watching this film. For all of it, for all aspects of it, but especially for Richard Gere's performance. Um, India Garcia really gets to display his kind of Latin machismo in this movie. This movie has a certain kind of Latin flair as it relates to him, and there's certain moments in the movie where there's bongos, kind of Latin style music, and it really gets him to kind of shine from where he comes from. Often he plays Italians or New Yorkers and that sort of thing, and I think that Andy Garcia really gets to highlight his acting skills using his heritage, and so it's pretty fun to watch. Like I said, Laurie Metcalf is absolutely fantastic in this movie. In terms of film, I think this is her best role. She's absolutely great in JFK, but this one is just a little bit more compelling. Um, Obviously, her as Aunt Becky and Roseanne. I mean, she was always at the center of the more serious episodes, and just absolutely shined. But this is really great role for her. Uh, and Billy Baldwin is also really good in this movie. He's more known for Backdraft. I would absolutely say this performance is better. And obviously he's not Alec Baldwin and even Stephen Baldwin. Um, but in terms of you know acting prowess, but he's no slouch. Sharing the screen um, with Richard Gere, with Andy Garcia. So kudos to him. Um, the action sequences in this movie are very realistic. They're not overly complicated. There's practical effects. And the when something happens in terms of, um, in just terms of, you know, forces pushed, hits, uh, cars jumping off, jumps, that sort of thing. The stuff that happens in this movie doesn't, you know, go beyond the normal ideas for science, and physics and that sort of thing. So it's good practical action. Um, and also what goes along with kind of Andy Garcia's kind of Latin flair is also this real heavy sexual undertone, to the movie. It's not like an erotic thriller. It's not quite like that, but the fact is that sex does drive a lot of the behaviors and a lot of the storyline that goes on in the film. So it in that put together with this kind of Latin flair, it really goes together in concert, and it's really fun and interesting to see. Um, and I mean, like, this movie at times can be quite a mind fuck the first time you watch it. So I really encourage you to go ahead and watch this if you haven't already. Um, some other fun facts: Siskel and Ebert liked the movie. They commended Laurie Metcalf's performance. Um, Roger Ebert commented that Richard Gere is a brilliant creep, which I thought was fun. And then Gene Siskel said that for Garcia, this was a career making role. And to say that in the same year that he played Vincent Mancini in Godfather Part 3, which, you say what you can say, or say what you want to say about Godfather Part 3, Andy Garcia is fantastic in it. And he deserved that Oscar nomination, despite other faults of the film. And also he's fantastic in The Untouchables. So for Gene Siskel to say that this is a career-making role, maybe did did his career pan out as perhaps as good as I think it should have? Maybe not, but this is really, really fantastic role for him. So if you haven't seen Internal Affairs, I absolutely recommend seeing it. As of June 5th, 2025, it's um, it's streaming on pay services, so Amazon, Apple TV, that sort of thing. But you gotta pay to rent it. But this is in the regular rotation of streaming services like Amazon, Tubi, um, places where you're going to be able to find it at some point in time where it's free. So if you don't want to pony up the $3.79 for a rental on Amazon, I completely understand. I abuse that too much. I have too many subscription services, and I still rent films on Amazon all the time just because I watch what I want to watch when I want to watch it. But keep an eye out. It will be, if you go on Amazon or go on another pay service where they have free movies, put it in your watch list. It's going to be free at some point in time. I guarantee it. So If you, like I said, if you like the movie, go or tell me how you feel about the movie in the comment section below. If or feel free to comment any other movies that might resemble this movie or kind of run in the same pack that you think that I should take a look at. So thanks, y'all. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Joe of All Trades. Find us Joeofalltrades.content. YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and also on Patreon if you want to throw me some couple bucks. All right. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.